Greetings, 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 greetings. Greetings. Welcome to my village. Welcome to my village. I hope everybody is getting in place. And I'll be right back. Let me get me something to drink. And we'll get down to the nitty gritty today. Greetings, 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 greetings. In case you haven't heard, I am your Queen Love Bug number one. Welcome to my village, where everyone gets taken care of and no one gets left behind. Yes, 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 there have been just so much going on. And with everything that's going on, it's time for us to start to figure out, where do we go from here? We had a live stream yesterday, and it was dedicated to George Floyd. But today we want to dedicate this live stream to all of those that want to keep faith that we can obtain justice. And we will obtain justice. I'm believing in that. Let's speak it into the atmosphere. Okay. When you turn on the news, the first thing we actually see is all the problems all over the world. And yeah, how y'all like my little sundress? I am just feeling myself uncomfortable. And you get comfortable too. Because when you come by me, you know I always tell you, get comfortable and leave your problems at the door. Don't you dare come in here lugging baggage and problems. Welcome to the village, sweetie pie. And thank you, thank you, thank you for thumbing me up. And good morning to you. And good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, all over the universe. Whatever time it is where you are, good morning. And I send my morning love and my afternoon love and my evening love out to you all. Yeah, we have to share love. And you know, Sometimes when we go through a lot of different things, we start to get a little confused, or we just start to think, like, will this world ever be a good place to live in anymore? You know how we used to wake up and look forward to the adventures of the day because we just knew we were going to have an amazing day. No matter what came our way, the day would end good, right? You know how sometimes it's still a little shaky, a little shifty, but before long, you're talking to your loved ones, you're having a good time, and all of your problems have been left behind and they're right off of your shoulders. If only it was just that simple today. If only we could just forget about all the madness that's going in all over the universe, going on. But no, that would be too much like right. It would be too much like right. But if you got any kind of Christ in your life, any kind of faith, or just any kind of righteousness, you start to believe that things could get better, right? It gotta get better. It cannot just continue to go wah, wah, wah. And then we go to the book of Revelations and we see that everything in that book is coming to pass right before us. So then you start to wonder, are we living in our last days? And are our last days so close that we can almost touch them with our hand? Because sometimes, when you read in that word and you apply it to your life, you start to see the word standing before you, sitting before you, or lying before you, whichever way you want to describe it. But how many of you, right now, within the sounds of my voice, believe that we can actually obtain justice? We can believe that all that we're praying for is going to come to pass. We can believe that someday we will not have to worry about if we wander into the wrong community, whether we will make it out alive. And I do believe that too, sweetie pie. You know, I had so many calls yesterday after the live stream of people just calling me because they didn't understand what was going on. Thank you so much, sweetie pie, for the love. You're so amazing. And they had so many questions that they wanted to ask me. So I will try to answer some of those questions today because I understand how it is to be a little confused. Queen of Six, welcome, my sister. Welcome to the village. Let me just let y'all know now, I'm actually streaming from my phone today, so things are very small, and y'all know I don't have the best vision. So pray for me, y'all, so we're going to make it through, right? We have no other choice, right? I don't know what made me log on here, but hey, here we go. That just goes to show that sometimes you just got to be spontaneous. And thank you all for your prayers all of the time, not just today. Anywho, the main thing that I was asked yesterday over and over again is, do I feel racism will ever cease? Will racism ever stop? Will it ever become a time that we can all be in the same environment and feel as if everything is going to be okay and we can coexist in peace and harmony and unity? You know me, I like to stand in my truth. And I would hope so. Lord knows that I would really want to see everybody get along and just do well together. Okay, sweetie pie, why do you not think this could take place? Put it in the chat. And if anyone else is in here and they do or don't think it can take place, put it in the chat so that we can communicate about it and get down to the meat and potato of things. I don't see it happening today, so let's be clear. But I do have a high faith And I do believe that someday, I pray anyway, before we all depart here, we will see unity take place amongst us all. And we will come together as children of the Lord and realize that we are all his children. I feel it's been going on so long and people has taken it too far. Okay, okay. You know, I understand where you coming from, sweetie pie, because you have recently had some racist slurred at you. So you have current events that's going on in your life, which I can understand that sometimes the things people say, they don't realize how offensive those things can be. And I just want to say this to everyone that's in attendance and will watch me on the playback, as well as from the porch. There is life and death in the power of the tongue. And we all must be mindful of the words that we speak. And we all must be mindful of the way we treat each other. The way we act towards one another plays a major role. Now, I want to get back to what I was going to talk about before I lose my train of thought. Because I had told some of you yesterday that I didn't really research the officers and what they was about, because my focus was more on George Floyd. But you know me, I'm not going to rest until I complete an assignment. So I had to go back and I had to get a little history on these officers so that I can be accurate in the things that I'm saying. But you know what? In getting this history, never did I think that I would get a whole nother insight on what's going on here. So here's the thing. Yeah, get comfortable, get comfortable. Grab back and get comfortable. 3 other officers that was assigned to this officer that day were rookies. And one was on the job for 4 days, and the other ones was on the job for about 2 weeks. So if you know anything about the police department and the academy and coming out of the academy, becoming a rookie, and going out into the field, which is the streets, it will tell you that the officer that was training them was in charge. So someone put this officer in charge of these rookies that's just fresh out of the academy, a week or 2 weeks, and now here they are going out into the field with this officer that's been on the job long enough to take you around and show you the ropes. This is usually how it goes, guys, in case you don't know. Okay, let's continue. Here comes someone that he's going to arrest. What better way to teach these rookies the job than kill someone? Yeah, I said it. Now, let's backpedal back to yesterday. When I said that anywhere you work, and I want y'all to really be real right now, because we're not here to bash anyone. We're here to get down to the meat and potatoes of things. Let's be clear. Okay, any job you work on, if there's somebody on that job that's not right, we know they're not right. Let's stand in some truth. And also, even where you live, if you got that neighbor that's not right, most of us know, watch that house over there, and y'all stay clear. Or wherever you go, even in ministry, you hear the whispers around the ministry that, that one is, let's be clear. Let's stand in some truth again. See, this is why many people can't take the Queen Love Block, because I don't sit here and sugarcoat it. I call it like I see it. So now, what superior person would put this person in charge of training some rookies unless they wanted the rookies to learn the ropes, just like this person is doing it? You're the perfect one to take these rookies out and teach them the ropes. Stop me when I'm wrong now. So away we go. Now, these young men, they new to the job, they're just coming out of the academy, and they're out here with this officer that's showing them the ropes. It let me better understand why they stood back looking. They probably didn't know what to do. It don't make it right. Let's be clear. It don't make it right. And we're not excusing their behaviors either or making excuses. But I'm fair. And if I'm in a situation where I'm just starting a job and I'm shadowing someone and they're doing the wrong thing, I might get stuck on what is going on and what do I do? Do I do something? Do I say something? I'm new here. I really don't want to make a bad name for myself. He should have never been in charge of training no one. But okay, let's get past that. Let's push on forward, because that was the main question that I was getting, was whether or not these other officers should have been arrested because they didn't do anything. They just were standing there. But now we got to go back and we have to follow the law. And when you go to the academy, they teach you that once you put that uniform on and you go into duty, it's your responsibility to protect and serve until you come out of uniform. And even off duty, if you see something going on, it may be laid on your heart to try to get justice. But okay, off duty is optional. But once you put that uniform on, even if it's one of your own, it's out of order and it's not protocol for you to allow them to violate someone's rights. So that's my point. Even though you may have been new on the job, it's fresh to you because you just coming out the academy. So with you being on the job for a week or two, you know all the stuff you just learned. From Sweetie Pie, I feel that cops are told what to do, even turning up the black brothers. Oops, hold on. Against one another, and they make the black men choose their jobs. Okay, when you say they make the black men choose their jobs, be more specific. What do you mean by that? Because I want to be clear. I don't want to assume anything, and I don't want the viewers to assume anything. So explain what you mean. I mean the black cops. Okay, so what you're saying is they turn the black cops against black people? Is that what you're saying? Because I don't want to put words in your mouth. So what are you saying? Okay, they turn. Okay, let me backpedal. You're so right. This is coming from Queen of Six, and I saw footage last night where the officers were physically active in him being harmed. Okay. Now, I want to ask you, Queen of Six, how do you feel about the other officers being arrested? Do you feel it was proper for the other officers to be arrested? That goes for both of you, because that was the main question. It was like a tug of war going back and forth. Some people were saying they shouldn't have been arrested, and some people were saying that they should have been arrested. So what are y'all views on it? Do you feel they should have been arrested? And do you feel that they should deal with the same consequences that he dealt with for being there and not doing anything about it? Let's go back to our childhood. When you're taught by your parents, if you're somewhere and something wrong is going on and you don't tell, get away, or do something, you're just as bad as the person that's doing it. Greetings, Alex, though. Welcome to the village. Welcome, Brody. I feel all four should have, because a life matter, a matter of a cop is, no matter what a cop is doing. Okay, so your Sweetie Pie feels they all should be brought to justice. Thank you for that, Sweetie Pie. Is there anyone that feels in this chat right now that they should not be brought to justice? Because if you feel they should not be brought to justice, say they shouldn't. Definitely after I saw how they were beating him in the police car before he was put on the ground. See, I didn't see that footage, so thank you for sharing that. Because, see, it's very important to see everything. And the footage that I actually saw was footage of them explaining that these guys was rookies. And this is why it's always good to see everything and gather all the facts. And I will continue to look for further footage. It's a smokescreen simply to pacify the public's outrage. Okay. Okay. Now, these officers have been arrested at this point. But for some reason, the public still is not satisfied with what's taking place. The public still do not feel as if we will obtain justice. And I believe everyone that I spoke to were all on the same accord with that. If nothing else, everybody felt that justice would not take place. Okay. So with us feeling like justice would not take place, how do we continue to go forwards and try to be peaceful if we're not even feeling that we will get justice and things will be okay? Can we let it go? Can we move forwards? Or do we stay stuck until we get justice? Let me know. I see what you put in, Brody. You said about the charges being in the 3rd degree, and they should have been charged in the 1st degree, because what a lot of people may not understand about law, so we'll give you a little bit of information, is that when a person is charged in the 3rd degree, that is not the same as being charged in the 1st degree. Then I want to go back to the other charge, which is manslaughter. And manslaughter does not hold a whole lot of weight either. If you have never been charged with anything and never been in trouble before, manslaughter can be a slap on the wrist for so many people if you have never really been in trouble and don't have a criminal record. So let's be clear about that also. And I say that to say, if you've never been charged with, not charged, convicted. Let's say convicted. I want to use the right words. If you've never been convicted of a crime, if you've never been convicted of a crime, manslaughter can be a slap on the wrist, depending on who you go before. And it can be as simple as, A, give them probation, give them community service, and let them go. Now, when given charges, when being charged, let's say it that way, when being charged, is it right to have the proper charges for the crime? Yes. Yes. Because what you're being charged with has a lot to determine how much time you will receive. Okay? When you get a chance, Google and see the time frames for all of these different crimes. Even to charge them with 2nd-degree murder with the lesser include of offense of manslaughter is a mockery of justice. It leaves too much room for them to escape justice fully. And that's basically what I'm saying in a nutshell. Now, we're not talking something simple. From the Queen of Six, yes, so right. And even if that happens, they should never be able to work with with the public, with people. I agree. And also, I feel that when something like this happens and you coming from a particular headquarters, that headquarters need to take a closer look at that location where you are. I was reading somewhere where it said the officer that actually did the crime, that committed this crime, had so many different complaints on him, stating that he had been doing wrong, put it that way. He had been committing crimes against other people, and it was just pushed under the rug. But unfortunately, this time they couldn't push it under the rug because someone's life was taken, as well as footage. So now, as a commanding officer in charge, how did you allow this person to continue to work after so many different allegations has been brought up against this person? And even if you weren't able to stop them from working, what kind of superior officer are you to allow this person to train some rookies? I'm still stuck there. I can't even wrap my brain around it. If you ever been a supervisor on anybody's job, it don't matter what kind of job it is. I'm sure many of us have supervised on jobs. And the purpose of you being a supervisor is to be able to determine who on this job is capable of what. And when training new people that's coming in, the goal is to find that person that's going to train them properly. One officer who just started working is now saying that he told them that they shouldn't do it. Nevertheless, he chose to not say anything until he was arrested. Okay, because see, this is what I'm talking about. I didn't do it. I said no. They still did it anyway. But you did not say anything until you was arrested. And see, that's where the tug of war is at. It wasn't so much did they do this or were they involved. You failed to say anything. And that's where the biggest piece of the puzzle is at. Whether or not you follow protocol by not saying anything. Now let's flip the coin. Are you trained? We keep what's going on in here. Don't you dare go against one of us. We have to protect our own, right? Most jobs are like that. So once you go into a protective mode, do you take on the consequences? Do you take on the consequences? This will be an experience even for those new officers. That will teach them something. And I want to say this word before I continue to any officers that's leaving the academy and they're rookies and they're going into new locations right now as we speak. And they're being trained and taught the rope, they're shadowing someone. Be very careful. Because this can happen to anybody that's not able to make sound decisions for themselves. And wanting to fit in and be cool and feel like, okay, I didn't say anything, I didn't snitch. It may not be in the best interest of your future. As a rookie, these officers has already just tainted themselves as unworthy, not fit for the job. Not fit for the job. But now we go back to the one that actually did the act. He wasn't fit either. And many people tried to bring it to their attention that he wasn't fit by putting out allegations that, he had did these things to other people prior to this taking place. So now as a family member of someone whose life was struck down, and let's say George Floyd, should you be outraged to know that this wasn't an isolated incident? This was far from an isolated incident. There were many, many, many charges brought against this person. Hold on. Let me get your stuff from Queen of Six. I definitely think it's bigger than just them officers and that precinct. You better know it. Amen. That's from Queen of Six, from Alex. American law isn't constructed to represent minorities. According to the law, I have the right to make a citizen's arrest. Can you imagine what would happen if I saw an officer violating someone rights and intervened? And that's why I always say, if something like that is taking place, you definitely want someone to be recording it. Because you're right, making a citizen arrest, we rarely do it for that very reason. We do not want for whatever backlash is going to come to fall on us. So we say, you know what, I'm not touching that. I'm going to mind my business and I'm going to stand back over here. Because as soon as I go up to that officer and say, boom, I may find myself fighting for my life and gone in the wind. Okay, so how do we go about making a citizen arrest? Or do we? Do we make a citizen arrest against an officer? Or do we just make a complaint? And now I want to say this to Internal Affairs. Because Internal Affairs, you guys investigate the police officers and find out if their findings was wrong or right. At Alex, that's why I say it's bigger than that. I agree. And we have to have faith that when these officers are going before higher rank and internal affairs and investigations, that's the word I was looking for, when they're being investigated, that they're going to be investigated properly. And when they go before a judge, we're going to get the proper order of a judge. The judge is going to not sit back and do the same thing, push under the rug and cover up. Boom. So I'm hoping that we can, have that happen. It has happened here and there, not that often, but it has happened. So let's have faith that it can happen, that we can actually get justice. And not just for George Floyd, but for everyone that has been brutalized at the hands of monsters. Monsters. Because that's what it boiled down to. You are a monster. And you have been doing this. You didn't just jump out the sky and do that. You've been doing it. And you did it so bad, you didn't even care if this man stopped breathing or not, because you thought you would get away with it. You thought that it would be covered up just like everything else was covered up. And good thing someone had enough sense. And I heard the person that actually recorded this was only 17 years old. Again, I shout you out and I give you the biggest salute, because at 17 years old, you were able to do what some grown folks have sat back and not done, and have watched situations and didn't even have enough sense to say, let me sneak and record this, or let me try to get this person some help. Some people will watch and won't even say, well, let me try to at least call someone. And calling the cops may not help, but then again, it just might if you get the right one on deck. But okay. We're going to move on. Let's move on. Let's go forwards now. Protests is still taking place. Hold on. Alex, though, your only course of legal action shouldn't be to complain to the same group of people that are collectively and systematically continuing violating people's rights. I totally agree. Most of the people that I was talking to, the biggest issue with them was, how did this continue? How did it continue? When people were complaining, how did it continue? And I just can't understand it. And most people don't feel that justice will be prevailed. And that's where the protests and marching and stuff is still coming in. I thought that once they arrested the other officers, everyone would calm down a little bit, but You know why? Because when officers get arrested, we don't see justice. So we're still not satisfied with them just being arrested. And when the charges is looking like, okay, this is something that It's simple, it's easy, and even in the event that everything go to the left, it still will be a slap on the wrist, as most of the time it actually is. Yeah, we know the truth. We sit in it every day. As I was reading, I was just reading one behind the next. And I'm talking this year. We're not talking 20 and 30 and thousands of years ago. We're talking this year. The people that have been murdered. Let me rephrase that. Let me word it properly. The people that have had their lives struck down because someone chose to do it. And not just men. Not just men, women too. And today, I was looking at the news this morning and they had a young lady on the news, Brianna. And today is her birthday. And her life was struck down. Mistaken place. Hold on, sweetie pie, look at all the people who died in cops' custody and they didn't get held accountable for. Oh, of course. Of course. This happens all over the universe. Every day. And then there's so many who don't even get reported. There's so many who don't even get reported. No one even knew this took place. From Alex Doe. The threat of violence makes most people passive because he knows the law enforcement has the means to gather large numbers of armed soldiers to fight unarmed citizens. I'm going to reread that. The threat of violence makes most people passive because they know that law enforcement has the manpower, that has the means to gather large numbers of armed soldiers to fight unarmed citizens. Okay. Now I ask this question because I'm noticing more and more every day that citizens are beginning to fight back and commit crimes against police officers. And it's sad. It's really sad. What makes it so bad is on camera. Correct. That's what makes it so good, actually. From Queen of Six. The sad thing is the more of our men have been killed by the cops right after George that we don't know. Yep. Our young men have been beaten by police doing all this, and I'm hurting for us. I agree. And I also have to continue to say that it happens to women too. It happens to women too. It don't just happen to men. From Alex at Queen of Six, you are stating facts. And it happened to women, and I don't want to ever not be advised that this happened to so many women. As much as it happened to so many men, women, black women are not exempt. They're not exempt. So then we have to decide, how do we exist in an environment when the deck is stacked against us? We're taught to respect authority, respect the uniform. So when you're respecting the uniform and your rights are being violated, I keep going back to that. What do you do? Because no one has answered me this far. And I spoke to people on the phone too. And I still have not got a concrete answer. And if you're on the porch or watching this on the playback, answer that question if you can, because it still haven't been answered. When do you start trying to fix this situation? Is there anything we can really do to change this from the Queen of Six? Well, that's the question I've been asking 2 days. And unfortunately, I still don't have an answer. Because no matter how much we try to believe that this will end today or tomorrow, our reality is we know that it will not. So, here's the thing. Most of us that has a positive mind would love to see the world a happy place. Everyone's getting along. We can go wherever we want to go. Enjoy life. Don't have to worry. Wherever you are, you don't have to worry. That's how we would think life should be. If only it was that simple. The police commissioner is saying that defenseless officers are being attacked. How are the defensive when they're armed and in the tea and full riot gear against people with rocks and bottles of water? From Sweetie Pie. That was from Alice from Sweetie Pie. I feel that we have to go to the Lord to see how the government can hear us and see how to change the amendment. We have to go to the Lord now. Okay. I'm going to get back to you, Brody. Give me 1 second. Because I want to talk to Sweetie Pie a second. We're dealing with the Lord. That's the problem. When we're taking the problem to the problem, how do we get past it? We have been going to the Lord for almost 500 years. All right now. All right. Hold on, because I was headed in that direction. Definitely not a visible solution. Thank you. I'm glad that I'm not the only one that has realized that taking something to the Lord has just not worked for us. As much as we would want to believe it would, it's not. It's not. It's not working. So now that we know that we can't even depend on the Lord to save us, how do we save ourselves? How many people can actually say they pray? Now we social media. Okay, hold on, we're going to get to social media. You know, when I pray, I believe in prayer. And I believe that if you don't pray with faith, don't pray. And if you don't have faith in your prayers, don't pray. I want to believe that God is going to fix it. When? I don't know. But I would like to believe that it will be fixed. However, in the meantime, how do we exist? How do we survive? How do we continue? When I walk out of my door, I don't have faith that I'm safe. I don't have faith that my family is safe. And even sitting in my own home, I don't feel safe. How many times have someone's door came falling down and it's a raid and it's the wrong place? And all they say is oops, and barely put your door back up if it do go back up. And go on like nothing happened. Don't compensate you or anything. Especially if you don't have enough sense to cause a civil case against them. Social media is only to make people aware. Social media is limited to only what the people that own these formats allow to be seen and heard. I agree. How many times when you try to make a post to bring things to the public's attention, social media take it down? they take it down. They ain't never took down nothing you post. But as soon as you put up vital information or awareness, down it comes. Flag, you can't put that up. We won't allow it on this platform. Choose your words. Choose the way you say things and choose what you post. So we already know, and that's where I was getting ready to go with social media, that it's limited. And when you're trying to get justice, you may be able to talk to some people about some things, and social media may give you a glimpse. And when I say glimpse, I do a fast glimpse of what's going on. But it's bigger than that. Even the ones that we do get to see is way bigger than that. It's way bigger. That's just the ones you get to see. But what about the ones that you don't get to see? What about the ones that's in the dirt that no one ever humbled their name and said anything about? It just was a silent situation. It happens. And not just to men, to women too. Let's be clear. What about the ones that dogs are being sicked on? In order to stop and prevent injustice, people have to accept the reality that they have to fight back. This country hasn't acquired anything for their privileged class absence of violence. And you know, I couldn't have said that any better. They say we should be able to go to somebody for any problem, right? And get a solution. How do we fix this situation? How do we handle this situation? But when you're trying to tell that someone is doing something wrong, and it's like, get out of here, we don't believe you, you're a liar. And the only way this was really brought to light is because there was a videotape and footage. Come on now. Come on, let's be clear. Let's be real right now. Don't sit here and pretend if that wasn't on tape, it would have been something like this, because we all know that would have went on down under that rug. I'm sick of seeing people keep getting killed. Okay. I don't know who all seen the footage. Hold on, from Alex. I'm sorry to see that people are so intimidated that someone can beat and kill them and tell them to address the problem peacefully. These people are so ignorant. Well, you gotta understand, when you're living in a place where fear has set in, and a lot of people, they haven't been taught to stand up. Because let's be clear, let's be real. A lot of people do not stand up for their rights, and they feel like it's just going to be worse. If I say something, if I do something, if I fight back, it's just going to be worse. They're just going to kill me. They're just going to, just pick on me even more. And that's how afraid we are. There's times when clearly they're outnumbered, but that mentality of fear of them is so strong that a lot of times we all just stand there and look. And that has been from the beginning of time. And even in order for someone to take millions of people as a slave, it had to start here, in your mind, that you couldn't defeat them. And if you feel that you can't defeat someone no matter what you do, then you submit. You decide to just say, I'll throw in the towel, there's nothing I can do. So let me just try to stay out of their way and do what they say, and hopefully I'll make it. And unfortunately, a lot of people think that way. And I know some viewers are looking at me right now saying, she need to go shut up. But I don't. This stuff should have been spoken on and spoke about. And sometimes we don't speak about the things that are so important because we don't want to put ourselves in the line of fire or be on the chopping block because we're bringing forth awareness. And many times we become fearful also of consequences. But I'm in a place in my life where, as a woman that talked to God every day, I'm safe. Let's say it again. I'm safe. No matter what happens to me, I know what my heart is, my spirit, and I know where I'm going. The one thing that I took from George Floyd brother, was when he said that they were Christian people. We believe in the Lord, and we don't believe in a bunch of nonsense. Because I knew that family would be all right. I knew they would be all right. Long term, they would be all right. God is going to lobby around them, and he's going to get justice, one way or another, from the Queen of Saints. I know here in my city we have a lot of Instagram platforms that show a lot of the things going on in our city and around the world. And there are people who are trying to make a change. I agree. And I want to say this before we go any further, because it's important and it's definitely imperative that we're clear on some things. Not everyone that works for the police department is corrupt. Not everyone that is white is corrupt, just like not everyone that's black is corrupt. You got hard-working citizens out here that's black too, that has grind their way to the top the right way, not a dirty dollar. You got black people that are joining colleges and trying to get educated, as well as vocational schools, etc., just trying to become a better person. And when you have worked hard to loose those chains of negativity, you should be able to live the right way without someone still taking you out of here and violating your rights. My opinion is that I applaud most of them people for finally having the insight to realize enough talking and time for action. Actually, we need a much more in-depth, effective, and meaningful action. Okay? I'm going to say this. When they started looting, it upset me. That's standing some truth. It upset me. And I was laying on my sick bed and I couldn't get into it the way I wanted to. I didn't have enough air to go. But I tried to log on just to give a word of wisdom to the people out there that's living in the hood and in the minority situations. I wasn't upset that they were outraged. Lord knows I wasn't. I wasn't even upset that they were looting. I was upset that they were tearing down their own community, because I know from experience it will come back to haunt you. When you're looting in your own community, you're not benefiting from doing that. I promise you, you're not. You're not benefiting, because you're just tearing up what belongs to you. And when it's no longer there, you're going to feel the bite. And I was looking at people yesterday saying, like, oh, everything in my community is broke down. There's no stores. We got to drive over here. We got to do this and that. And even a young lady Pooh called in from Chicago, and she was explaining The same scenario that I had already told us that we would be sitting in. So when you decide to take an action, make sure the action that you're deciding to take is going to benefit you. Think things through. Do not be emotional and just do a bunch of crazy stuff because you're emotional, and then later on you're saying, oh, what have we done? Because I have made bad decisions in being emotional, and not so much in this scenario, but in life, because we all make mistakes. That's how we learn, right? When you do something and then you go like, what did I do that for? This hurt me more than it helped me. Let's stand in some more truth. From the Queen of Six. And Alex, we have to get up and go help to make the change. There's power in numbers, but we don't want to do the footwork. We don't want to do the footwork, and we most of the time want to be peaceful. We really have been taught to do things in a peaceful way. Don't go out there acting crazy. You're going to be killed. This is going to happen to you. That's going to happen to you. Now, my question would be, does peace work? Do y'all believe that peace works? From Alex. Is two gold because actually they don't own anything in the community? That's a whole nother subject. He is so correct. Outsiders come in, drain the community, financially dry, then go home to their comfortable homes. Facts. 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 And that goes back to when something is in your community and it's to provide for you, regardless to where they go home for, too. Don't mess it up, because you still need it. And you have to start knowing, like, what's the greater of the two evils. And when you learn how to master that, everything else will work itself out for you, I promise you. Knowing how to say, okay, everything in life is a business, right? Everything in life is a business. And even down to living in a place, buying a house, getting a bank account, where you going to shop at, where you going to wash your clothes at, who are your neighbors, what school your kids going to go to, if they're going to continue a higher education, where would it be, what's in their best interest. So everything that we do is kind of a business decision to a certain degree. And when you're looking at the things in your community, how do these things contribute to comfort? How do these things contribute to my everyday reality? If I don't have a washing machine, I'm going to need that laundromat. Okay? I have some groceries, but these aren't going to last forever. I still need to be able to get over there to Target and Walmart. So we're not tearing that down. We're not tearing down that laundromat neither. Oh, there go the beauty supply store. Y'all better not go up and tear up that beauty supply store. Where am I going to get my hair? And my doggone lip gloss and nail polish. Come on, everybody. Let's start thinking realistic. And my little lashes. Where am I going to get this stuff from? Now I'm out here looking like a chia pet because y'all done went and took everything and tore it down and broke it down. Now, you done broke up the Dollar Tree. I can't even go around there with the last little couple of dollars I was trying to pinch off of and get me a couple of dollar things to make it through the month because you guys done tore that up too. So now I got to try to go across town, pay Joe Blow to take me across town if I don't have a car. Now he's going to try to milk it for all it's worth because Joe Blow don't care that we're in a crisis. Joe Blow trying to make $1 out of 15 cents just like everybody else. That's my brother, all right. But honey child, when I call him and say, hey, I need a ride, he making it known I'm going to need $20 on my gas. Talk to me, people. So now where we go? from here. I got to go cross town. Don't tear up your community, amen, in the name of Jesus. Now we got to go to the bank. We can't get in there either because they done boarded it up. It's bad enough we in the middle of a pandemic and they trying to slowly open up stuff. Now they shutting back down the stuff that was opened up. Now we out here, nobody is practicing social distancing. Everybody on top of each other. Every other person don't have on a mask. And when we simmer down, it'll be an emergency room full of people. And we're not even going to say no more than that. We ain't speaking that in the atmosphere. So now they're looking at us up close. And they saying, just leave them alone. Let them self-destruct. Let them self-destruct. Say it again. Let it kick in. Let them self-destruct. We don't have to touch nobody else because now they're just not thinking clear. And they're going to start robbing from each other and tearing down each other's necks. These little stores that's in their community is insured. These people will get their stuff back on track and probably get enough money to take it somewhere else. How do you think they're going to hurry up and fix up something in your community? When they getting a little bit of money where they might be able to advance themselves somewhere else? Let's think in the business mind. If they give me some extra money, do I want them open back up over here? Because let's keep it real. You know when you get that insurance money, it's always worth more than what you already was dealing with, right? So now you're getting a little piece of change, and you got to think, well, okay, how is this going to benefit me better? To stay here in the hood, or do I take this money and try to go somewhere else? Which decision would you make? So now we got to figure out how do we rebuild the hood. Because nobody in the hood have no money. We done took everything. We done used that up. We done bought the little sneakers and the little outfits and the little groceries we done ripped out of the store. Now it's over. Now we're sitting back on E. The little cars we done stole, we done ran them down into the ground because we don't know how to use our mind to benefit ourselves. So we just living in the moment. Now the moment has passed. And reality is kicking in. And okay, they've been promising this little stimulus money, but it ain't written in stone. Some people like me, I ain't seen a dime yet. And I know I'm not the only one. So you can't just be standing in here saying, I'm going to get that little piece of stimulus money and that's going to set me free, because they just may not send it. From Alex. Let's be clear. You don't own anything. You have a house. You have to give the extortive law property taxes. You buy a car, you have to pay insurance to drive it in their streets. You better know it. You better know it. From Queen of Six, I heard a woman cussing out a business owner because she said the business is here to help. The business is here to help harm the community. Well, what kind of business is that, Queen of Six? And that's a whole nother subject, if a business is there to harm your community. Because not everything that is a business is always a positive situation either. So that can vary. It was hair store and mom and pop stores. Okay. Well, maybe she felt that. Maybe she had her reasons. I don't want to assume what her reasons could have been. Each one have different reasons for different things. I can remember, and I don't know if you all will recall, when a young lady was beat in a nail salon, and all of a sudden everybody was stopping the nail salon thing. Nobody's going back to the Chinese people because this went down and that went down. And after about a month or two, everybody was right back in that Chinese store getting their nails and eyebrows and lashes done. however, whatever, they decided, well, hey, let's go on back. That done blew over. Gucci had a situation and they decided, oh, let's stop wearing Gucci. We mad at Gucci. Everybody boycott Gucci. Next thing you know, everybody was back inside there buying Gucci and everybody living happily ever after. So that's one of my pet peeves is if you're going to do something, stick to it. Alice, thanks for hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. Yes. Nobody opened a business in your community to benefit you. They opened it because it is financially beneficial to them. How can people be so undereducated? And that's very true. Let me just say this. Anybody that opened a business is opening a business to benefit themselves. If you're opening a business and it's not to benefit yourself, then you actually have the problem, because everyone with an operating brain is wanting to have a business that's going to elevate them some kind of way. So I can definitely agree. Nobody's just putting a business in your community because they feel like, okay, let's help them. They're putting it in your community because they feel they don't have this over here, so the money will definitely flow. The money is going to come to this business because they need this in their community. And sometimes you can see 5 of one business in a community, that type, and each one is still eating and getting their money because there's so many people in the community that they can reach out to each one of these locations and keep them flowing fluently. I was looking at, the playback of our last live stream. And, we had 12 Vels on our live stream. And, 12 Vels was saying some very important facts also. There was a few things that she was talking about, and when I watched the playback, I was able to understand her a lot closer and clearer as well. When you're feeling like white people just don't understand black people. And I do believe that when she said, but sometimes I don't understand some things about white people. I sat back and I listened to it on the playback, and I said, she correct. Sometimes we don't understand things about one another, but do we get to try to understand or let our mind even wrap around understanding other people's thoughts? From Alex, people gravitate to the Asians because their prices are always because their prices are always people, even when black people open a business, they money hungry too. The price is outrageous. Whew. I tell you that, Alex. Alex, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Because I want to say this to people. Because I don't have an issue with supporting people. Anybody. If I'm for you, if I can do something, I'll do it. But I have had some black business, I won't say which names, and they have said, can you support my business? And I said, okay, let me go in there and try to help a brother or sister out. Because, we all got to try to help one another, right? And then you look at the price and you be like, are they out their mind? Now, hey, I don't mind helping you, but I'm here to get a deal just like everybody else. The same way you want to save $1, so do I. The same way you want to make $1, I'm trying to figure it out too. So now, black people, let me just say this. If you have a business that you want supported, how about you be budget friendly sometime? How about you have some things that's affordable? If everything in your business is $5 or more than another business, I'm sorry, I got to go where I'm going to get more bang for my buck. So if Joey over there has something that's a little cheaper, hey, black people, I'm sorry. I'm going on over there to Joey because I'm a businesswoman too. And I want to get more bang for the buck. And I'm a consumer, and I say that all the time. And I've been taught from a small child to budget, to sit down and figure it out. And I tell you, I haven't always listened to everything I was taught by my parents. But there's one thing I've listened to, and it has got me very far in life. And that's how to get more bang for the buck. I learned as a small kid going to the store, how much is that and how much is that? Okay, which one do you think we need to be picking up? And let me tell you something. Designers and things like that, I don't care. I love nice stuff. And I don't care if it's not designer, if it's decent. Hand it on here. Hand it here. And you got to learn how to go into clearance also. Because sometimes you can get some nice things in clearance that was up here and now it's down here. Snatch it up. Okay, and Alice, because black people feel like we support Gucci and other stores like them, we can support them too. That's from the Queen of Six. Okay, Queen. From Alice, it's okay not to understand people, but it's not okay to simply strike out against people for no apparent reason, other than they are different in appearance and they do not understand them. I can agree with that. That's from Alice, from Queen of Six. Yes, that Queen. I love a bargain, sales, and clearance. Okay, so now we at least agree to something. When you're spending your money, a lot of people don't have excess change just lying around. And if you got children, sometimes it makes your change a little more restricted because you don't never know what's going to come up that you have to really say, oh man, I wasn't expecting to have to do this. Now the school doesn't ask for this, the church doesn't ask for this. You know, they going to a birthday party, or it's their birthday, or it's the holidays, and it's always a way to just keep chipping out money. Let's be real. So how do we say, okay, as black people, we want to support one another, but we also want to be able to make it in life? Hold on. From Alex. I don't chase European labels. They make this stuff in sweatshops for less than $1 and sell it to you for $500. They smile and laugh and call you stupid. Huh? Hey, Big Bay. Hello. Welcome to the village. Now, you know what, Alex? You stand correct. I'm going to say this. And a lot of you who know me is going to say she is so right. There was a time in my life when everything I put on my back was a designer. Okay? I went into the designer stores just to buy labels. And I had almost every designer from the pocketbook to the floor. Shoes, sneakers, outfits. Closets busted at the seam. And I would make sure that I would create a wardrobe of designers. There was a time when almost everything I wore, including my underclothes, was designer because I was that addicted to labels. Come on, I'm standing in some truth, y'all. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. But I'm standing in some truth right now. But you see how God will move in your life. When I got saved, He started giving me different visions. And He started teaching me that it's not about that. It's not about what name and label you have on your back. And let's be clear, I do like good quality. Whatever it is, I like it to be good quality. I don't care if it's food, clothes, car, house, whatever. I want it to be decent. But then I started saying, you're spending a whole lot of money on clothes. And you can go find you some budget-friendly, decent clothes that's not always costing you for one garment $100, $90 for a shirt. when you can take that same $90 and go get you 2 or 3 nice tops that's just as nice, just as decent, and they may still be somebody's name. They may not be Dolce Gabbana or Versace, but they may be Woman Within, Ashley Stewart, Rainbows, wherever you got to go to get you some clothes. Let's keep it real in these streets. And I had to learn to carry my hind pot up in Rainbows sometime too. And find me a couple of cute little things and come on out. And mix and match this with this and that with that. Let's be humble. And as I started to do that, I started to notice that my money started to look different. Because now if I got $500 to go shopping, I'm not coming home with a pair of shoes, a pocketbook, and maybe an outfit. I'm coming home with a wardrobe for the year. I don't have to worry about no more clothes this year. I'm out here listening. I'm fixing my baby boy something to eat. Okay, handle your house. And Big Bag, where you at and how you been, Big Bag? Welcome to the village. And once I got to that place, even with my grandkids, there was a time, and I'm guilty of it. Don't judge me once again. I bought them nothing but designers. Anytime I bought them anything, I would distinctly go and make sure they had all designer clothes. And my kids will tell you that. Mommy, if these kids get some clothes, they're going to be designers. And they're going to be top designers. They're not going to be no mediocre designer. She getting ready to get out there and spend a piece of change on these kids' clothes. And I still buy them nice stuff. But I learned to stop doing the same thing with my grandchildren. Because I don't want to create that label brain where that's all they look at is labels. And my daughter, my youngest child, you know, she was more of into labels. The oldest one wasn't. And she was doing that same thing. And we both decided to start teaching our children to appreciate fashion versus labels. Let's say it again. Appreciate fashion versus labels. If you see a nice outfit, it's a nice outfit. If you look at that label and it say Walmart, but it's a cute little outfit, put it in that cart. Put it in the cart. I don't care if this sundress came from Women's Within. It's a cute little sundress. And guess what? I got this, and it's a good quality, comfortable sundress. And I got this thing out of Women's Within, and it came down from about $70 or $80 to about $15 or $20. And I am just as comfortable in my little sundress, and I wish somebody would say, where'd she get that sundress from? Women's Within. And I am living the best life in this little sundress. I'm comfortable, and when I walk out in that street, I am comfortable and clean, neat. And that's what should count. I don't care whose name is on the back. I don't care who designed it. It's comfortable. If I see a $10 sundress and I can get up in it and be neat and clean, you can bet your last dollar it's going in that shopping cart. I wouldn't care who designed it, because guess what? I got a mortgage to pay. I don't care about nobody over there, how rich we can get them. And that's when you start to understand what money really is about. It's not just about, oh, I got to impress this one. I got to impress that one. Impress who? I got to impress Jesus. I'm trying to get in that direction. Jesus don't care who name on this dress. Jesus didn't say, if you're not wearing Versace, you out of the loop, you won't get here. Jesus don't care. Look in that Bible and see if you see any designers in there. Because I haven't seen them. So they ain't that big yet, huh? I don't care. But I want to say to our black people, if you're going to have a business, make sure that we can afford your business. Make sure the things that you are putting out there, we can actually say, okay, this is the going price. Don't make it higher than what we already paying for. We paying enough for these little odds and ends and trying to be neat, clean, and take a shower and change our clothes every day. And now we got to be sitting over here counting pennies because we trying to figure out how to support your business. No, ma'am. No, sir. Make sure your prices is budget friendly. I'm not buying no hoodie that's already straight out the gate $80, $90 when I can go over here and get me a little $20 hoodie out of Walmart and be just as warm and looking just as pretty. Bring them prices down. Yes, preach. Yes, we got to be realistic. Jesus didn't say, oh, if you don't got Versace, you ain't going to get into heaven. If you're not wearing Dolce & Gabbana, you're not getting into heaven. If you don't have a couple of pieces of Gucci, you're not getting in this doggone heaven. You got to go out there and get some of them labels to make it to heaven. Jesus ain't told you that. It ain't written and it ain't so. That's something you decided to do for yourself. Those are those man-made things that I always talk about. The stuff that we decide that, oh, well, I want to fit in, so I'm going to go over here and I got to impress people. And I love that that's what it boils down to when you feel like you always got to be in all of the stuff that everybody got on and you out there shining and profiling. A lot of times that's to impress somebody. And when you are strong on who you are, you ain't got to impress nobody. You doing your thing. You leading your own lane. You ain't got to worry about, ooh, if I don't have this outfit, I don't fit in. Oh, well, I got things to do with my change. I ain't giving them folks my money. Every day I look at the news and go outside, I see these injustices are still being committed. Demonstrating, marching, and protesting seem to be very little to stop the madness of today. And it's so true. Demonstrating has a very small percentage of seeking justice. And we're never going to seek the proper justice if we continue to live in fear. Because when we are living in fear, then we're not standing in faith. And God. He does this to me. I'm telling y'all, it's not a time I come in here, he don't start pouring that word up out of my belly. You're not living in faith. And when you're living in faith, fear starts to go back here because you're confident that everything is going to be okay. And, oh, Jesus. All I can say is Jesus, because he does this to me on this live stream every single time. I come in here in one direction and he'll shift me all the way into another direction. But let's go in that direction then. When you're living in fear, that's how you're able to be controlled. And it's a form of abuse. We spoke about domestic violence a few weeks ago. And living in fear of someone controlling you to make you do this and make you do that and keep you in order by doing this to you or doing that to you. It's another form of abuse. And I don't ever want to live in fear. It's bad enough I'm scared of dogs, right? But when I start to be afraid of humans, that's never good. That's never good. And we shouldn't have to live that way. And the only way we're going to be able to evolve is to stop living in fear. We have to come out of it. And it started way back in slavery when we were being controlled with the whips and the guns and the things of that nature, the weapons, and we didn't have weapons at the time. So we had to submit because that was the only way we were going to survive. Let's be clear. It's not as if people wanted to submit. They wasn't submitting because that was what they wanted to do. They were submitting because they didn't have weapons and they didn't know how to use their brains to outthink. Until it got to the point where people started figuring it out. Let's use that Underground Railroad. Let's do this, let's do that. But let's stay in the vein. If you are afraid, you're fearful. And we have to work on stop being fearful first. Because fear starts here. Defeat starts here. And allowing ourselves to be abused starts here, in our mind, because we don't believe that we can be treated right, and we don't believe that we can step out and take down the same thing that's being brought to us. We don't believe it. We feel like it's not enough for us to take control. It's not enough. And I do believe a lot of this looting and different things that's going on was us as a people finding a way to say we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if it means busting out a window and kicking over something and just snatching everything apart, it was an energy that went into that. And the energy that went into that was breaking that fear and breaking those chains. Whatever you're going to do, you're going to have to do. Because now we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I had told several people before it came to this, even when it was stuff going on with the pandemic, and I said, a lot of people are being locked down, and there's a lot of things that's going on that's not correct. People not getting their unemployment. A lot of the businesses closed down. Some people didn't get their paychecks. That was their last couple of paychecks to try to figure it out until they get to something else. And they were frustrated. People are dying left and right. You're not able to even say goodbye to your loved ones. It was a lot of built up frustration coming. It wasn't just that one isolated incident. It was a lot of stuff that was just being piled on. And I think folks had sat still a good while, just digesting it all, taking it in. Okay, let's just hold on a little bit longer. If we could just hold on. And then it got to the point where everything just bust loose at the seams. Boom! An explosion took place. And when that explosion took place, all of that stuff, it was like a volcano that was just building up, came pouring out. Boom! Lava everywhere. Just burning down everything. Because it's not just today or yesterday or just the pandemic either. It's all these years of oppression, all these years of frustration, all these years of incarcerations, all these years of abuse that came raging out and pouring out. From Alex Doe. When you apply a permit to march, you're a threat because they already know where you at. All they have to do is get in place and put you back in the place according to their vision. Some people say they understand the way that black men are treated, but I beg to differ. As a black man, I can attest to the fact that only other black men are deemed a threat. Wait. Let me get it right. Deemed a threat knows. Okay, only other black men that are deemed a threat knows. I can understand how you can feel that way. I can understand that. I have different diverse friends. I've evolved, and I talk to a whole lot of different people. I'm not limited. A lot of I have friends from all over the place. And I try to convey to them that being a black woman is different from being a white woman. And some of them will say, how so? And sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. But when you're a black woman, especially if you are with a black man, you know that you have to be strong, and you have to be able to cover him, and you have to be able to also nurture and protect him to a certain point. And when he walk out that door, many times you're saying, Lord, protect him, and you're praying and saying, and you and your children, let him come back safe. And I'm not saying that other people don't do this too, so let's be clear. But when a black man is doing the right thing, and he's still being killed, he's still being abused, he's still being broken down, as a sister, we have to still try to speak over their life and pray over their life and encourage them and let them know they're worthy. And sometimes when we tell our kings, our black kings, that they are kings, they can't even receive it. because they done been broke down to feel like they nothing for so long that kingdom is not something they even can wrap their brains around. Having a queen isn't something they can even wrap their brains around. And sometimes they don't even know how to treat a queen because they have not even wrapped their brain around being a king. So if you don't feel you a king, how can you look at your lady and see her as a queen? So that's a whole nother thing we'll speak on another time because I don't want to get, lost there. But when I look at a lot of our brothers, some of them have been incarcerated for little or nothing and did 15 and 20 years. This is their reality. This isn't something we're making up. We can't make this stuff up. You might have went to jail for, let's say, selling drugs. You're selling drugs out in the local community. You got busted. You're doing 10 years for selling drugs. And somebody else is getting a slap on the wrist for taking a whole life or two. So we have to understand why our black men start to not feel like they can add up. Because even the ones that's doing the right thing sometimes is being taken from us in one way or another. So as a black man, I'm not a black man. I'm a black woman. And dealing with a black man is not always easy. To keep him encouraged, to make him feel worthy, to let him know that he's loved and cared about. And a lot of times as women, we haven't even been able to teach our son his worth, especially a lot of black women that are single mothers and do not have black men to help us with sons to build their confidence and build their character and build where they can be able to feel good about themselves. And then when they are feeling good about themselves and they are confident, they'll seem like the ones whose lives get struck down. So where do that leave us? Where do that leave our children? There's no king per castle. So now, what happens to the queens? How did the queen continue without a king? How does she become the head of the household? And then you wonder why so many of us black women are so strong and so determined, and we get out here and we got to fight tooth and nail for everything that comes before us, because that's what we have to do. That's what we're designed to do, because a lot of times we don't have a king in the house. And then there are some kings that reside with you, but they're not present. So that's a whole nother subject. So I say this, and I'm not going to say other races do not experience the same thing. Let's get that off the table too. But how do we help our black men to feel worthy and know that they are loved and appreciated by us as black women? We live in a society where they determine that it takes a certain amount of money to be above the poverty level, yet most of us have jobs and fall way beneath these guidelines. Y'all figure it out. But you still gotta survive, and you still gotta make it. And even if you don't have all the money, you still have to make sure that you can continue and take care of your family. And then when you try to find a little hustle to help bring in some currency, that's a whole nother subject too. But you know, guys, I enjoyed this topic, and I enjoyed just talking about everything that's relatable to other people that's sitting in this right now and maybe thinking they're alone, or someone whose family experienced the same behavior and no one never mentioned it. It went unseen and unheard on deaf ears and eyes because no one had a recording or evidence that it took place. And then there are some that did have recordings and evidence, and it just wasn't televised, but no one really paid it much attention. So I want to say to all of you that, you know, we pray for you to get justice also. And to all of those who have experienced this, and it just so happened that it seemed as if the case didn't work in your favor. They said not guilty. With all the evidence that was stacked against them, they deemed them not guilty. Be encouraged. If they don't get them in the wash, they'll get them in the rinse. If they don't get them in the rinse, they'll get them in the dry. And if they don't get them in the dryer, they'll get them in the fold. Always remember that. Always remember that. I do believe that somewhere along the line, everybody has a way of having to pay for the things they have done, and consequences will come. It may not be the way we thought it would come, but it's a whole lot of consequences that has come to a whole lot of people that thought they got away with the things they did. And when karma come knocking on your door, be prepared to answer it. And be prepared to deal with the consequences. Because all your consequences may not come in the court of law. That's why we serve an almighty God. So remember, I told you that. I am your Queen Love Bug #1. Welcome to my village. They sit back and watch your job only pays $25,000 a year, but you have a house and a luxury car. It don't add up. They're definitely coming to see you. I agree. I agree. Well, guys, once again, we have taken on another hard topic. And, you know, that's just what we do here in the village. We take on the hard topics and we talk about the things that many people want to evade or just not handle and deal with. And it don't make us a better channel because we take on the hard topics. But what it do is give you awareness and a place to come and talk about and view the way people feeling in the world, and know that you're not alone in what you feel and what you see in your opinion. And whether you agree or disagree with what we're talking about is neither here nor there, because we're mature enough to agree and disagree and allow people to have their own thoughts and insight. But hopefully it will give someone out there some healing, awareness, and even just a word that you might have needed to hear to help you cope with what you're going through, to help you have a better understanding of something you're going through, went through, or know someone else that is going through. So we hope that when you come to this village, it will be able to give you some education as well. They have been unjustly doing this for so long that very little consequences, that they're comfortable just doing it. Yes. And I said that when I watched this officer for 8 to 9 minutes on this young man, George Floyd, and not one person said, push him off. Push him off. It could have been something as simple as pushing him off that could have preserved George's life. But no one chose to say, get off of him. Get off him. Why are you doing that? Get off him. You already done caused enough damage. But after a couple of minutes, nothing in no one's brain said, push him off. Get him off him. Hold him. Stop him. Everybody should burn together. And if you're working with someone and they doing that kind of stuff, stop them. Let them know, no, you're not doing that when you're working with me. I'm not going to stand here and watch you abuse people and abuse power and abuse your uniform. We should not fear people in uniform, police officers. We shouldn't fear you. We should be able to run to you because we have a problem, not run from you saying you are the problem. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone that came in and had a word to say, because that's what it boils down to. Even if you have sons, if you have daughters, always ask yourself, what if this was my child? Would I want justice? What if this was my parent or my loved one? Would I want justice? And would I want the other people out there to get behind me in obtaining justice and help me be able to heal through this process as well? Because healing after going through this is a powerful thing, because sometimes you become bitter and angry when your loved one life has been struck down just senselessly by someone that chose to be out of order. So we pray for healing, and we pray for everyone that has been through this and is going through this, for justice to come forth. And for those who have been found not guilty, I always look up to that higher power and I said, God, make it right. Make it right, Lord. You are the one that's in control. And at the end of the day, I'm believing in you, Lord, to make it right in the name of Jesus. And we have to keep on praying. And I know some of you are non-believers and you may not believe that God can make it right. But I'm praying that God will show you that he can. I'm going to read this and I'm going to get ready to get out of here. Knowledge is power. But most importantly, the type of knowledge that you acquire that makes the difference. It's the type of knowledge that you acquire that makes the difference. Great word to end with. Great word to end with. Is the type of knowledge that you acquire that makes the difference. For the record, knowledge, absence of effective actions is worthless and meaningless. So true. And you being a better person too. If you see that someone is racist, don't let that behavior make you a racist person against innocent people. That has nothing to do with what that person over there is doing. Make sure that you have the right energy also, because the energy that you project makes a difference. And being able to embrace other people and just love from your heart because of the character and the human life is priceless. And I do believe if enough of us will continue to lead by a positive example, eventually it will start to catch on and attach itself. Thank you everyone for coming in. Thank you for your input. Thank you, Sweetie Pie Roz. Thank you, Queen of Six. Thank you, Alex Doe. Thank you, Big Bay. Thank you for everyone that will watch this on the playback. Please leave comments in regards to anything that you may have heard that you might want to speak out on. And for those that may call me, I welcome your phone calls, because I do think about the things that we discussed long after we hung up. And I want to send a special shout out to our boy Pounds I didn't see Pounds in here today, and I hope everything is all right. I'll check on you in a little bit. But I'm just so grateful that we're able to be civilized in these conversations. Until next time, everyone, from Queen of Six. Thank you, Queen. Thank you for coming in and contributing to this live stream. Once again, I am your Queen Lovebug #1. And welcome to my village, where everyone gets taken care of and no one gets left behind. God bless you all and have a blessed day.